Hey everyone, welcome to POPXP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the POPXP channel.
Whoa! What's up, Dr. B?
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. Well, you know, yesterday I was an Irishman because I'm 60%
I do
Irish,
know this.
and then I woke up being a
fun-
Sicilian Scotsman because I'm mostly Sicilian and Scotch.
Yeah, fun fact, you're going to be Sicilian forever.
Yes, I will be Sicilian forever.
Fun fact,
On St. Patrick's Day, I'm all Irish.
That's right.
But then I go back to reality because, well, you know what? We'll talk about this, but why don't we bring on our guest?
Dude,
Man, this is
I'm
a long
excited.
time coming. I want to apologize to everyone that Niall Scala, our sage, our grand poobah, the brain of the mainframe. Niall has got some personal things he's got to take care of, house things, you know, happy wife, happy life, if you will.
Right.
At priorities. So, but without further ado, why don't we bring on would you say he is a giant of comics?
Well, both in stature and in presence.
Yes, and even now in YouTube.
Yeah, and now in YouTube.
So this show's a long time coming.
The $500,000 man. What's that?
For some reason, scheduling didn't work out, but it's been way too long.
It has.
A friend of mine for over 26 years now.
It's a long time.
And just. You know, what can we say? Incredibly accomplished individual, incredibly talented individual. And you know what, Dr. B? Why don't you take it home?
Well, I mean, it's obvious we haven't really seen him in a while, and I was wondering where he was at.
Well, we were fighting with him, right? We got into a big fight with him.
Couldn't find out Doug TenNapel was in exile.
Oh, what?
Bring him up.
Yes, I'm back from exile, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
How you been,
gentlemen? Really good. Really good to hear from you guys again. I miss you guys so much. I was having Brian on my show all the time back when we were doing live drawing stuff. I've been reorganizing my whole life around in exile now.
Yeah, I
was still trying to keep in touch through Twitter. I was still sending messages.
Yeah, and I watch your show.
Well, we appreciate you so much you coming on, Doug. I mean, it's been a month of Sundays since we last broke bread, you and I, and that's a month of Sundays too long, brother, too long.
Yes, my brother.
Trying to kick back and have a cigar and a nice glass of scotch and catch up to old times. But today, okay, so Doug, your Bigfoot Bill, I'm sorry, Earthworm Jim fight #2, Fight the Fish, the leather edition. What is it, the black and white? Is it the
It's black and white leather.
Yeah.
I got one over there. Here we go. Right here. Look at that thing. Metal on the cover there.
Look at that.
So it's got a bunch of my black and white art inside is in there. And then I got about probably 10 or 12.
Can we see that? Can you show us the cover? The whole thing. Show us the look at that. So this
is metal inlay.
Wow.
And it's been aged. It's got like an antiquing on it too.
It's like puta.
Yeah. So this is just, we only made 700 of these. So this is and sold out. So this is an instant collector's item. It's got a little transparent paper. And then a bunch of Earthworm Jim art, about a page from almost all of my books. I put up a sample in there, and then some essays in there too. And Alejandro Mirabal did the end sheets.
Yeah,
excellent, nice. Oh, beautiful. And that has the gold
and ribbed,
and the gold
gilded, ribbed, gold edges. It's got a ribbon. I did a ribbon on this one here
because the Earthworm Jim books. What I loved about it, and I've got the making of Earthworm Jim, and I don't know if you saw. So Niall's like, Billy, you got to do, because I love to contribute to campaigns, especially those of my friends and all. And I have literally, Doug, about 30 of them I haven't gotten to.
Right? Too many books.
Yes, I know. You can't have too many books, right? As
Yeah.
long as you got a nice pair of glasses, right?
Well, it's
So-
good. It's good to have too much to unbox. It means
Yes,
you're
it is.
supporting-
Yes, it is. But
supporting the
so now-
indies.
So the whole plan was we're going to have unboxing day videos. Now we're coming on our 2-year anniversary. So I'm like, okay, we'll save the books for the unboxing. And so last week, was it Brian that I unboxed Earthworm Jim too?
Yeah, I saw the show. I loved it.
Fight the fish. I was all
I
excited
pumped
about
that.
it. I'm
I
like,
pumped
yo.
it on an Exile. I pumped it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it got a lot of views too. The video got a lot of views.
Yeah, so and it was just a joy to look at. And then I'm like, well, before I read this, let me read Earthworm Jim 1, And then I'm like, where the hell's my Launch the Cow? Where's Launch the Cow? Wouldn't you know it? I see this box sitting in a pile of
It
stuff.
wasn't
I
even
never
open.
opened it. I never opened it. No, please, my friend. No, I don't mean to offend, but I was saving it. And you know how it is. We're always 6 months behind.
I'll be here for a long time. I'll be here for a long time. You don't have to open that.
So then I had the joy of opening up Earthworm 1, Jim. And of course,
Look at that thing.
Launch the Cow. I mean, this is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Okay, so you have spot gloss. You have the gold, the red foil, metallic foil. Is this called embossing? And what's it called when it's raised?
Conclave?
Is it
it's embossing when it's raised, and it's debossing when it's pushed in.
There we go.
Thank you. Okay, so you have the embossing, you have the spot gloss.
There's a second color of foil on there. If you look at the ring around his collar on the cover, there's a little detailed foil.
Look at that. You're right. It's gold.
2 colors of foil.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's a
Spare
beautiful.
no expense.
Spare no expense. And what I loved about it is again that you had the gold edging, on your paper, and you did the same for Earthworm Jim 2, and you did the same for the leather bound. Very nice. But then you old codger, what did you do for the making of Earthworm Jim?
Yeah,
you made it silver.
Shut
the front door.
Yeah.
Again, with the embossing. Again with the spot gloss. It's Doug, just beautiful, buddy.
That's a great book. That making of book. That's another thing people don't understand is not only have I created, written, and drawn 4 books now. So Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 and Bigfoot Bill 1 and 2 at 160 pages each. But I did a making of Earthworm Jim, that one that's in your hands there. Ooh. That's another 100 pages. And the leather book is another 100 pages. So I'm just saying, I've put out about 800 or 900 pages worth of material in 2 years. Hardbound, large books. I am here to build out your library.
Masterfully crafted.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it really is. As you were showing, I mean, it's just beautiful. And, like I said, we've been friends for a long time. And I've just always been astonished by your work. Now, where did you work when I first met you with Keith in 95?
That was my own company, the Neverhood. Spielberg and Microsoft, all those guys funded that video game. We had a 3-game deal. So that was Boski is the guy, he's the lawyer who helped land this incredible deal for us. And he was a mutual friend of ours. He goes, you got to meet Billy Tucci. Yeah. So he's the one who interrupted.
Great. I was just like, I just couldn't believe it. You should have seen this operation, Dr. Blevins. It would have blew your mind.
It blows my mind just thinking about it.
Yep. And then we just hit it off like peas and carrots. And every gosh darn year, Doug and family stops by our booth at Comic-Con. Yeah. The boys love Doug. They're like this. How big you all are. And then we all went out to dinner Saturday night. And, since yesterday was St. Patty's Day, right? Patty's Day. So, I don't know if you ever heard of the Irish goodbye, Blevins.
I have. I knew what it was.
All 6'7" of them did an Irish goodbye, and then it came time to pay the bill. And Mary, the Greek woman, said, "Oh no, your friend, the giant, he paid your whole bill for like 20 people."
That's how it's done.
So salute.
That's right, my brother.
That was real. You didn't have to do that. And then he just left. Anything.
Vanished. I just figured I did a Bilbo Baggins. I just figured when you invite me to a dinner that's all your closest friends and people who you grew up with. I just thought I wanted to be a I wanted to say good job, you guys. You guys keep doing this.
Yeah, well, it was a manly dinner, right?
That was a killer dinner.
We're given.
Oh yeah.
You know, we were smoking cigars. You know,
Yeah.
we have our wine, our ouzo, Scott. You know, it's like, so my wife knows. And just real quick, I don't mean to take away from you, Doug, but Saturday night is my night.
Yeah.
Unless there's the Eisners, I get nominated for a night. Oh, the Eisners always Friday night anyway. So Saturday night is the men's night. And my wife knows, and she trust me, she's happy for it because she goes to I don't know, all those fancy restaurants, Nobu and stuff like that. Yep. And me and my friends go to Athens Market Taverna with Stephen Peros, who's put it together for the past 20 years. And it's this amazing Greek restaurant that's been there since the 70s. And we basically take over the whole restaurant, and it's grown to, you know, a few more collected, you know, good chaps, if you will.
It was a blast. What a great night.
Of course, Doug, you got to be invited.
And that area of downtown San Diego, for those of you who've been going to Comic-Con forever, it just has, you know, that San Diego air and those old business. I don't know how many of them are still around after all of the shutdowns and 2 canceled Comic-Cons now, Billy. What are we going to do?
I don't know. I mean, she's Mary. I think Mary owns the building and all.
Yeah.
That it houses it. So I think she's good. Hopefully, I mean, she's been through everything. She's, you know, through the Carter years, for goodness sakes. And so hopefully she survives. But so many of those restaurants are real high end, and that real estate is not cheap. And that friggin' state still isn't open.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I miss it. I'll miss you guys. I go down to San Diego to stay at that condo up in Del Mar every year. So I'll be there if you're around. I always hang out with all my San Diego buddies.
But November, they're having like a mini Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So Debbie's been talking to them about us going.
Cool.
Because I just love that city. And I mean, it's such a Blevins, you never been, but you got
I never been. But you know, you did it automated last time, you know, like a big call. Like you should definitely bring Doug this next time. You got
weren't you there for that?
No, you had Christopher Caliendo, Michael Soloff, Joseph Kerr, Mark Hayes, JC Vaughn, Steve Millendorf, Barry Orkin, Mike Peros, Steve Peros, and you.
Oh, Doug, I had to send you out the invite because we sent it to everybody who came.
I don't remember anything.
You were in San Diego. Were you in San Diego?
Oh yeah, I was in San Diego. I still do some shows from there. Like I was going on with Mike Miller and Gabe El Taib, my colorist. We would eat dinner and do a little mini show, but it's mostly I just go there with my family.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And
it was weird though, going to the convention center and having it be just a ghost town.
I remember you showed video of it.
Dude, nothing there. I'm going, this doesn't even look like the convention center to me.
It's weird.
But I also loved this. What I loved about meeting you back in '95 is back then Comic-Con was so different. It was so much smaller and cute, and everyone was just friendlier. And there was none of the none of the giant video games hadn't come in and taken over everything, and it was just you were closer to stores and vendors and fans. It was more very comic booky people there.
Yep. I mean, back then, San Diego Comic-Con right now goes from halls A through H. They literally and all the rooms in between, all the different meeting rooms. I mean, every one of them is full. Plus, they take over all the hotels because now, I mean, the Marriott built a whole entire wing just because of Comic-Con where they're housing things. Back then, Doug, it was only halls A and B. And even when you walked in then, it seemed so huge, though, right? Like
you couldn't see the whole thing. It was still
crazy.
Huge.
But then again, you can go and you know a few booths down from me was Dave Stevens, you know, and Stan Sakai.
I remember I just walk up and I just shake Dave Stevens' hands. I'd go, I love your work. Stan Sakai, Sergio Aragonés, Jeff Smith,
Sergio Aragonés.
You just walk up. Yeah, Stan Sakai was always there, and you just walk up, and there's. And what was cool is some guys were like big sellers, and some were still tiny. Yeah. Like Evan Dorkin was tiny, and Larry Martyr, and all the Image guys were there. You could just walk up. Hi, Mike Mignoli. He's like sitting there. Will you buy my Hellboy ash can? The first one sitting next to Arthur Adams. He's like,
I remember like Mike Mignola because the Dracula graphic novel he did, the film adaptation just blew me away. And you go up to Mike Mignola, and I don't even think that Mike had a pop up. I think he just had the sign they made for the little standard, Mike Mignola booth 658.
He was always jumping next to Arthur Adams. Arthur Adams had the booth, and Mike could kind of cozy up with him. It was
true. And he still does, actually, I think I walked by there, and Mike was sitting with Arthur Adams this year as well.
Well, that's funny. He's been with Steve Purcell, has been there for a while, the Sam and Max guy. So again, just regular guys, huge famous guys now. But back then I would meet, or Yonan Vasquez, who did Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. All these small kind of slave labor guys and stuff. Great kind of punk. It was like punk rock 80s zine. It reminded me of
Ivan Brunetti. If you remember him, he had a strip called Crack Babies.
Yep.
And it was and I walked up to him like, listen, can we use Crack Babies in the She Cyblade, the big She Cyblade book we were doing? I'm like, I can't really pay you, but you get a credit. And he's like, yeah, that'd be great.
Well, those tiny zine guys were lunatics. They just had a photocopier and they'd go there and sell them. It was
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Squee. And
Rob Schrab.
That's where I met Rob Schrab. Was in '95.
Scud the Disposable Assassin.
He and I became real good friends. We worked together all the time. We were just normal people having a blast. Remember that?
What a genius. Yeah. And then the cool thing is that
Jim Mahfood is another one I liked a lot too. Jim Mahfood.
Yeah. You had Eric Powell, who's still there. But and it was such an incredible. I don't know, man.
It was like all those guys are still there now, but now they're just buried, you know? So back then it was just those guys. And now that everything's just like, you can barely even find, they're like few and far between and there's crowds.
You had Sienkiewicz there doing sketches for free to people, and little ones, and then doing his bigger ones. And now he's got this amazing booth. It's you should think about something like that, Doug, with your high-end books, with you imagine all of these on shelves if you walk by Sienkiewicz's booth.
Do you think I've always wondered how to con this stuff, how to Comic-Con it, because it would be very strange. My inventory is so volatile, it's so heavy and so big that I can't imagine sending a truck of that stuff out to San Diego or mailing it. The cost would be so stupid.
It is. And you know what?
And then if you guess wrong and you're stuck with inventory.
Yeah, you're right about that. And then you got to lug it back. Like the Hot Flips guys, they have pallets of stuff. And I think the pallets, but they sell.
It's like $250 a pallet.
I think it's like $2,000.
It's more than that. It's gotta be.
Shipping is like $2,000 for like 3 pallets or so.
Maybe that's a mainstream delivery.
Well, it's big. I mean, they pile it up, but they sell comic book boards, comic book bags, all those protective sleeves, those Mylar sleeves, and they go and they're out. And I'll see Hot Flips used to be next to Mike when Mike used to when he used to exhibit there. And I'd go there and I see Jeff on Saturday afternoon because I'm like, I need more sleeves, I need more comic book protectors. He's like, I'm all gone, man. And their booth would be empty. And then Mike would just take over that whole booth. He would just, they're like, see you later. But I just can't imagine the money that those guys would make.
Cartoon color. That was Jeff Smith really had his, because he was the first to hire like employees, warehouse employees. And so he always had that system. He was always a step ahead.
Yeah.
And because he was independent, we would go through other publishers and he was just running his own. Even the name of his thing, the cartoon books, it was just like his own gig that he really had it down.
Yeah, it was him
and Vijaya.
You're right. And they had like 2 employees who are still there. Like Tom is still there. Tom's been with him forever. And it's great seeing them. And then you see Terry and Robin Moore, and just
Strangers in Paradise. Yeah.
And then that Sunday night, we have the Dead Dog Party that the Graffiti Design puts on. And it's a great place just to decompress and just chill out. And that's when you hang out with,
I love that we have kind of an internet version of that, if there is such a thing. But at least, look, we're talking over teleconference. I mean, that didn't even exist then, Billy. You have to call a guy on a phone. Hey, what's up? Call on your flip phone or whatever. Now you can have a whole show together. So I just think for the expansion of comics and the culture of comics, what we're doing here, is as important. It may not be, you know, flesh on flesh, but it can go a lot farther with these experiences and with the love of comics.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of virtual, why don't we check out something? I'm going to share the screen if you don't mind. Give me a second.
Share it with everyone, Billy.
Share.
I'll share with everyone.
Don't bring it for yourself. Only if you brought
Sharing
enough
is
to
sharing,
share.
Billy.
Oh, look at that. It's my
Yeah.
channel.
What is this? My goodness. Now, Doug TenNapel, I was a subscriber to you. Oh, man. I guess when you first started, or I don't know, at least 3 years.
Long time ago.
You know, at least for 3 years when I started doing all this stuff. And I think you had like 2,000 subscribers. What is going on? 400 and what is that? 400 and it's too small.
449,000
subscribers.
Yeah.
Crazy.
From 17,000 to 449,000 subscribers in 3 weeks. 3-week time period.
That's right.
I'll help you guys with the math because all of this is just cracking an algorithm. It's normal audience building, but what I've learned in the last 3 months has been, you know, it's amazing.
Nice.
It really makes sense too when you think about what YouTube is and what the business is and how fans and how all this stuff operates. Like I'll give you an example. Before, for 10 years, I was trying to find Earthworm Jim fans rooted in nostalgia and people that liked a guy who just kind of quirky drew online, say for 4 hours at a time. There is an audience out there for that. And I might have found them all at 9,000. but so then you just do the math and go, well, how many disenfranchised Republicans are there in America? And it's like, 75 million.
Yeah.
So finding, it's not hard to find different genres and get big within this is a bigger genre that I just stepped into, right? And ended up putting out a persistent product and the video length. We talked about this a little bit off the air, but the video length has a lot to do with it in that people are very impatient. It's very easy to get a quick kill on 2 minutes and 3 minute videos, just because if you're going to change your transmission, do you watch a 15-minute video on it, or do you watch a 2-minute video on it first before you know anything about it? You're going to go look at, well, the guy who cracked the 2-minute one's probably the one that's going to save my time. So, and I would put out lots of them. So I just go, I'm going to do this political thing and hit it hard, right? And this is what's weird. This is going to end up helping my comic career like never before, because now I took these 450,000 political fans and they're also fans of me as a person. They don't know that I made Earthworm Jim.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now they're interested in everything else that I do. They're like, oh, you keep talking about these comics. Can we try buying them from your store? My store sales have gone up double in the last 3 months because of this audience. And now when I open my next campaign, I'll have all my main people on there, and I'm going to bring in all of these fans too. Now, not a lot of them are going to be comic book fans, but for instance, my mailing list for comic books that I've built over the last 2 years for Earthworm Jim comic and stuff, it's about 9,000 people. Other people aren't public with their numbers. I'm public with everything that I do. Mm-hmm. So about 9,000 people on my mailing list. I opened up a mailing list for Doug TenNapel in Exile, the political mailing list. It's got 32,000 people signed up for it. So I send a link to my 9,000 on comics. I'm going to send a link out to my 32,000 on In Exile, and it's going to blow up my comic book business. It's going to stabilize it and reward it, and people that may not be big comic book fans, but this might be their first comic book they buy.
That's great.
That's crazy. I mean, and well done. Good for you. Now, Doug, how did Doug TenNapel in Exile start? Were you frustrated? Like, again, 75 million Americans. Interesting enough, one of my friends, he's a retired NYPD cop. He sent me one of your links.
Yeah. He's
like, you got to see this guy, and he drew, and he talks about comics too and all, and I think he's on your mailing list. And but this guy's spot on, and I'm like, And I just had to laugh, you know.
I know this guy forever.
I've been friends with him for 25 years, 26 years.
So I've always been, what's weird is when I was doing the Earthworm Jim stuff, if I told them I was a conservative Christian, you'd lose maybe 100 people in your audience. And this one, because there are a lot of conservative Christians, I tell them, oh, and I also created Earthworm Jim. I don't lose anyone.
Right.
So it's kind of like the thing that's dividing people now is not what cartoon you like. It's what politics and religion do you have is the divider. So for instance, if you find out someone is something you don't like, say like an SJW, or an SJW doesn't like a Republican, or someone doesn't like a Mormon or a Scientologist, or name whatever that you are,
right.
And there's always someone that doesn't like it, you'll lose a chunk of your audience over that divisive thing. Whereas if you just eat, if you're just saying, look, I just make bubble gum and I make the best bubble gum in the world, then people are united around things that have no divisive content to it. So instead, I leaned into the thing that got me canceled for 20 years and just said, look, I think the audience is getting big enough and they're getting tired of this that they'll actually come and start supporting me. Instead of just saying, oh, I'm going to keep my comic stuff neutral, I just leaned in and said, hi, I'm a conservative Republican, born-again evangelical, pro-life Christian. Screw you if you don't like it. And this is why I am that, with these little videos. And they just came in droves. It took about 2 weeks of consistent videos. I did 4 videos a day for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And suddenly
you're talking for those that are not subscribed to Doug TenNapel and Exile, which I suggest you all do. 2-3 minute videos for
2-3 minute videos. Now, and I'm saying this to your audience because I think this should work in most formats. So it doesn't have to be politics or religion, but I do think it should be something big. Yeah. So that's where we've seen other channels do Star Wars and Marvel or comic books in general. There might be even bigger plays of like doing science fiction or horror, or movies tend to be more bigger and popular, and probably video games. But that's an oversaturated market.
Right. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It is.
This market that I was doing 2-minute videos, and that's the model, right? Is I think the YouTube algorithm, before it starts suggesting your channel and your videos within your genre, you have to first establish yourself as one genre. So now I have another art channel, right? And I throw up videos of me making fish bowls and me doing aquariums. And then another video will be me drawing a cat, right? Those are different categories. So it's never going to be that 2-week bedrock of the same kind of material that YouTube could suggest to someone, because they'd suggest that cat video to someone who's making fish bowls. And so you know what I mean? It's not a reliably uniform channel. So channels that are, if you have something different to say, it's best to just break out a whole different channel and just say that and have that be that channel's brand, is how I think YouTube does suggestions
that
to
makes
your
sense.
audience. And then 2 minutes, just because people are impatient, it costs them nothing to click on it. Look at that one that I did of Kamala Harris. Yeah, that's 25 seconds, Billy. Look at the timestamp.
Let me see if I can share that, if I can click on it. Let me quit out because I don't think I shared audio.
Well, don't worry about it. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. It's 25 seconds. Look, my point is that got 15,000 views in 2 hours, and it's 25 seconds. That makes the exact same amount of money as the one next to it. The people who watch that will watch one commercial, and this video next to it, they'll watch one commercial. So that 15,000 is worth the same as the 7,200 next to it of a longer video.
Right.
That anything under 8 minutes gets one commercial. So you can do a 2-minute video, you can do an 8-minute video. You're going to make the same amount of money on ad revenue. So I'm only saying it doesn't hurt anyone to do more 2-minute videos. Narrow it down. I just hit one headline on a news piece. I might really, what I'm trying to do is curate an audience of people that are my age or older. They're like 50 and older. And I'm just telling them kind of what the big news is. That is the good, positive news about conservatism that day. So, and it tends to be around Trump, but it's mostly around patriotism, conservatism, where the movement is today. And so my audience, they're used to seeing a lot of complaining. They aren't used to seeing a guy give them a positive little factoid every time they click. I'm giving them like the 4 major factoids of the day why something good is happening on our side.
And especially when you're out of power, it's nice to give a little bit of good news, a little bit of good news, a little bit of positivity. And that's, that's like Rush Limbaugh. You see the difference with like someone like Rush and how
Rush.
huge Rush was because people who hated Rush listened to him.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, I was definitely gonna ask that.
He's just a great radio man too. I mean, the charisma, same thing with Howard Stern, who isn't a man of the right or anything, but charisma and pace and timing and things like that can really work in their favor. I don't have that actually. I'm just a really good editor. So I'm cutting all the ums and ahs out, and I can, if I flub a line, I'll redo it, say 3 times, and I'll get the right one in there. I'm amazed at the guys that do longer live streams and they're just, on. I have a lot of respect for radio people, for video people, for that talent, because you have to be, you just have to be tight. And as I have like a nearly a speech impediment, it's just weird how my brain freezes up and stuff. It just doesn't work right. But with editing, I can be a rock star.
Right. So, well, I love this idea that this show is almost like an instructional show, because we are talking primarily about Doug TenNapel and Exile.
Yeah.
And it's a tool now. If you don't mind, Doug, and I'm sorry, Dr. Blevins, but if we could, what do you edit? What do you use? Do you use StreamYard? What do you use to edit? Are you on OBS? How are you?
I use iMovie. I use the most bottom end equipment you can imagine. I use iMovie on my Mac. I have used a free download PC on my other PC, but I usually use iMovie. Real clunky. And that's another thing with YouTube is people want authenticity. They want to see you on camera, like you guys just talking. They want to see a regular guy, because I don't think they trust a voice as much as a face. So, and you look at me, I don't have fancy lighting. I have one ring light over there. I have my normal overhead lights. My equipment is bottom end because content is key, not presentation. It's content. If you're going to work on any presentation to polish your stuff, edit it down, cut the air out, cut the space out, cut the out. Because that's the number one comment I get is that my shows are like a bullet. They go, I never have to take that much time. Even if sometimes I'll put out a really long video and they'll go, oh, this video is so long. I try and listen to it in between things. They're begging me to have them be shorter, to have less of me. Right. So tight editing on camera. It doesn't have to be fancy. Authenticity. So talk about what you believe. All of these Republican, conservative, Christian things, all of this stuff are things that I deeply, deeply am serious about and believe and love. And I'm happy to take the heat for it because I don't care. So suddenly I've been, and instead of running from being canceled, now I gave the audience now has found me, and they're just dumping love on me. They're dumping support on me. They're asking how they can support my books. The advertising revenue is through the roof for my channel, because I have a really rare audience to capture on YouTube, and that they're older and conservative. So they all left Fox News. They're all over here on my channel. They're the cost per the CPM, right? That's where people make their money on their advertising. Okay. If you're doing comics and video games and kids stuff, the CPM will be down in the sometimes $1.50 to $4 range. My CPM is up regular in the $11 and $12 range. Jesus. So my videos can perform. For every video I do, someone else has to do 3 and 4 times my videos to make the same amount of money. So the channel's is more successful than it looks. And it's well more than enough to make a living on for me. And like I said, this thing was invented in December. I started December 8th. Yeah. And I've made about 250 grand.
Wow.
Last
night, bless you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Last night I had decided to turn on super chats because I don't really believe in super. I hate how they ruin a show, right? Super chat. And I go, oh, I'll turn on super chats on a live stream. And I made, I think, $300 in 30 minutes, and super chats started pouring in. So it's all an experiment where I'll try different lengths of videos. And that's another thing I noticed is YouTube looks at audiences according to how long they're viewing things. So if you start making 6-minute videos, keep them around that area, because there's a certain audience that likes that length. And so what happened was my subs started stopping, right? They wouldn't go up. Well, I hadn't tried live streaming for 30 minutes. So I started live streaming for 30 minutes. And obviously the people who watch live streaming for 30 minutes are different than the people that watch little 2-minute videos.
Sure.
And my subs would go up like 1,000 a day for a week.
Wow.
So I definitely, you know, we watched your Social Blade when it happened, and I explained, trying to explain the Social Blade to Billy a little bit to let him know how incredible you were doing and how awesome it was. So, you know, there was a big initial jump where you went from 9 to 13, and it was right around the same time that you went on the Steven Crowder show and got a push from him. So do you think that helped continue your blast into where it was, or do you think
it was blowing up before that? And Steven Crowder's show skews younger than my audience. So some Steven Crowder younger people will come into my audience, but what happens is audience members that you just kind of get by going on other people's shows, they tend to leave if they don't become fans of you. So I think it's actually overplayed the amount of visiting each other's show might get you some quick subs and quick views, but long term, your brand and what you put on is more important. And views are way more important than the subs. My subs went up to 500,000, right? They're not dropping back down. Because people just forget about it. But my views are down by 1/3, and therefore my money is down by 1/3 of what it was at its peak. So don't look at the subs, look at the views. And my views are, you know, I'm doing about 250,000 new views a day and probably 250,000 based on the back catalog. So it's about 500,000 a day.
Well, you definitely have a very unique formula for sure for your show. And of course, the In Exile definitely grabs you because that is, you know, at the time there was people that were getting put in exile. I mean,
that's right.
It was like the perfect storm.
Yeah,
to get that attention to you.
When I started the show, when Trump was still, you know, up for the election or whatever, everyone was asking me, "Why are you saying you're in exile?" No one asks me now. Now they all understand, man. They're all, I get it.
So how many? I know this is going to be a weird question, and hopefully you have the answer. But how many of the subscribers do you have right now? Or what kind of percentage of the new subscribers do you think are people that subscribed just because they don't like you and they want to be able to point out what you're doing? I know
I don't get that many hate subscribers. I don't get
That's
that
pretty
many.
good.
They just don't. There's always some weirdos in every chat.
Yeah.
So people that really are, but they're just not. They're the most vocal, but they're not the real audience. My real audience actually is very quiet, very loving, and just deep down type people that I can't even imagine are on the internet. That and they just don't get in. They're just not spending all day on a chat. The people that spend all day on a chat, they go to their YouTube channel to socialize and because they need to be heard.
Sure.
You know, so they're the kind of people, and they show up over and over in the chat because they're the kind of people that want to be heard. So I try to read all the chat so that they're heard. That's part of the social media side of it. But I mean, it's like 99.9% of my audience don't ever use the chat. So you can't listen to the chat too much and let them drive your content either. They may say, "Oh, I'm going to unsubscribe."
Your live videos are pretty few and far between, though, nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like, seems everything is recorded, which is great because it does look super professional. And man, like every day, it seems like your intro is new. It's like you change your intro up like every day. There's
that is the art side of me that is bored with the same format. So the only thing I'll do is at least take that little 10-second theme song. Sometimes I'll put in different music. I'll shoot black and white stuff. I'll steal footage from all over. And that's where I'm.
Who did the animation with you in the hat?
Oh, that was a guy. He works for the Weta. I can't say his name, but he works for the Weta workshop he's out in New Zealand.
Dude, it was awesome.
He just sent it to me. I go, "Dude, I'm using this." He goes, "Go for it."
Dude,
all the music that I get are fans, and I try and pump regular musicians and put support their work and get people to buy it. And then all of the video stuff. And it's tiny. I'm still running like this tiny, fun operation. I want it to be fun for me because I want to do it for a while. To do 4 videos a day, by the way, takes it's 4 hours of work, but it's probably 4 hours of research. So
what amazing timing was it building a studio?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing I was complaining.
You got everything.
Blevins, you saw my studio when I opened it up, and it was going to be a comic. I have my comic book table right there.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I'm going to get to it now. I built this thing to be a studio that's wide open with hardwood floors to walk around and then do a comic page. And now I need a sound room because it echoes. They're watching Back to the Future in the room over there, and the sound's all bleeding through the windows. I'm putting up giant, blankets on the windows to cut the sound down.
Did you not end up using the sound tiles I sent you?
I did not. The windows are the problem. So I don't want to cover all my windows up because that's the window that goes into the living room, goes through this studio. So I have to keep the windows open. So I just go,
So do you have a little red light? Do you have like a little red light that when you're recording so no one can come in and they can look at you from the living room?
It's so cute. Angie bought me the beloved Miss TenNapel bought me an on-air light.
Nice.
I don't know where I put it, but I have a remote for it and everything to click. I have a remote that you click and it turns it on in the house, but I never use it. Because I'm always just like wild recording stuff or cutting it off. And it's just weird. It's really unprofessional. It's really goofy and fun.
Yeah, but it works and good for you, man. Good for you. Proud
for as long as it lasts, Billy, I'm just here doing. It's really weird because I've had to stay quiet about this stuff. When you're raising crowd funds on Earthworm Jim, a comic book that has, fans from 30 years ago, it's weird when they find out that you're pro-life or anti-gay marriage. They're out. Some of them are just going to be out. And so suddenly it's like this whole channel is about all that stuff that I couldn't talk about before. And there's people leaning in going, tell us more. And they're like, Earthworm Jim who? So it's kind of a weird second career for me that I never thought. Again, it's just just lucky, blessed.
But then you found your audience.
I found
found your audience, and now
all this time, man, all that stuff you had to put up with, and now you found your niche. It was similar to when I got the VeggieTales deal to be an exec producer. I only got that job because I was an outspoken Christian. There were people who were better showrunners than me that would have gotten that job if they were outspoken about their faith, but they weren't. So I was hired by an atheist Jew who said, like, well, I know a showrunner. The only one I know of who's a Christian is Doug. So I got that gig with Netflix and DreamWorks and was making like $250,000 because I was an outspoken. So you get punished. And then suddenly someone's going, wait, you're actually what I'm looking for.
And then you get rewarded.
And then where else are they going to go but Doug TenNapel?
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, it's interesting, with a lot of the stuff that's going on now with cancel culture and all, and which is horrific, on both sides. It really drives me up the wall.
It's terrible. And it's not going back, Billy.
No, it's not. It's not. It really isn't. I think people are getting sick and tired, and hopefully they push back and maybe something can happen. But I really don't have the faith. I think what you have, a lot of these people driving the cancel culture are people that got picked on, right, when they were in elementary school and middle school, right? Yeah. And they have since, they've never, a lot of them never stood up for themselves, even if they couldn't stand up for themselves, or they didn't choose to stand up for themselves. But they've harbored that resentment. They've harbored maybe that pain, that anger to this day.
Yeah.
All those people that picked on them, those other 12-year-olds, they've grown up. They were kids. Kids are cruel. Kids are, it's a whole, kids are evolving. They're learning, very instinctive, very primitive, very primal, the way kids act. But they grow up out of it. They grow up and they move on. A lot of those people that are, adults in name only, in age only, I would say, they've never gotten over that. So meanwhile, once this bully has left and grown up and doesn't even remember doing these sort of things, and if they did, these people who got picked on have harbored it, and now they have a sense of power, and now they, as adults, are the 10 times the bully that the 10-year-old was. that they still hate to this day.
It's the nerds. What if I could offer anyone a magic button where you could destroy someone else's career if you could push it? Well, that's what's given to people in power.
Yeah.
So before, it was the jock, it was the hoodlum, the burnout, the football player, and the cheerleader, the popular kids. They were given the button to cancel. And then something happened in the 90s where pop culture blew up, and we saw it at Comic-Con turn.
Absolutely.
Suddenly, the nerds came out, the programmers were .com companies were running the world, and now Hollywood and the geeks, and you see it in comics, these nerds, they have a God complex and they're given a button.
Yeah, and they become 10 times the bullies that they so espouse to hate.
So are you the kind of person that will push that button if given it? Because I've seen it on our side too, Billy.
Yeah, yeah.
There's people walking around with a button that are canceling careers and people they don't like because they're given the power. Yeah,
but the thing is too is that a lot of these people, again, a lot of the ones doing this canceling stuff like that, that have gone after you, have gone after me for some extent, but I really don't care about them.
Yeah, I don't, Billy, don't lose any sleep.
Yeah, no, I don't. But the thing is they're also these keyboard warriors, keyboard John Gottis, because they say things, and they say things on the internet they would never, ever say to someone's face.
Yeah,
they're cowards. Yeah. And it drives me up the friggin' wall. And the same thing that you see a lot of this happening with the police officers. A friend of mine's a cop. And this past weekend, there was some protests in New York City. And the things these people were saying to them. And they got the stand down order from de Blasio. Don't do anything. And they were breaking windows and, cars, smashing cars, things like that. And spitting on the cops, saying to them, we're going to kill your whole family, etc. Because they know that these cops who could grab somebody, take them down, again, and really do some business, if allowed to. Yeah. They have this power because they know that they're going to be able to get away with everything. And they
don't realize they're the villain.
Yeah, right, exactly. And
every movie that you see where they tie up the hero, he's too strong. Yeah. The Samson or the powerful character, they chain him up, and they always, or a gladiator, and they bring him out, and then the weak guy comes and starts getting in his face, and that he's only allowed to do it because the big guy is restrained. That's what they're doing to the cop, and they're only doing it without realizing it. They're that greasy they're Scar from Lion King, the weak one. Remember, he resented his brother because you were always the strong one.
Yeah.
It's always the greasy little one.
Yeah.
The no-name cowards are the ones that have all the power. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that they're the ones who they're listening to the no-name cowards and not the others. And the people that are putting themselves out there and are like, look, this isn't right. They're like, well, we have 100 people over here, which may not even be real people. It may be one person running 100 accounts that are saying different things.
They're just really loud.
And going back to the button thing, it's a huge, I keep telling people because I've heard people say the button issue many, many a times. And the perfect visual representation of that was in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, where they had the two boats and they had the criminals, and then they had the other people, the affluent people.
That's right.
And
and the Joker knew something about the human heart.
Yep.
He knew something about it, that if you give both sides the button, what will they do? He's using fear and cowardice. And if I don't get him, he'll get me.
Right.
And that's why I keep saying to Billy, I don't think it's going to go back because of what I know about the human heart is it has to be redeemed. If you don't start speaking the language of love your enemies, which no one who even says that anymore,
right?
Because love is the way out, and it is a very difficult, degrading thing to do. It won't get put back there. It won't because what's going to happen is you have to escalate the violence. You're going to have to go up and punch them out, and then they'll punch you out, and then they bring a gun. Wait till Antifa gets armed, and it's going to be on the ground Comic-Con war. And I'm just saying, my message to everyone is repent. There's only one way out of this, and it has to be to go back to those ancient principles that are very difficult. You have to be very stoic to pull it off, because otherwise we're going to tear each other apart. And comics are so far gone now. The Civil War, the cultural Civil War in all the arts is now bigger than all the arts. So you can sit there and be a great painter, and it's like, who cares? You can paint. You make comics, who cares? I got this war to fight online. Who cares? The movies even. What movie are you going to watch? Well, I'm too busy canceling that guy and supporting this guy, and that guy I don't do. The politics have taken over, is now our entertainment. It's our fine art. It's our music. It's everything. Everyone happy
I think
now?
a lot of that was rooted in personally, I think the marginalization of fathers in this country. If you don't mind me doing that, because every commercial you see where someone's the butt of the joke, it's the dad. The dad's the idiot. The dad's the imbecile. The dads are not being shown of the dads who charged the beaches of Normandy or parachuted behind enemy lines, or the ones that went, traveled half a world away to fight for someone's freedom. You look at the Japanese Americans in the 442. These men, and I'll call them men because they were, 18 years old, 19 years old, but they were men. And what did they do? They volunteered out of FDR's concentration camps to go fight for another's freedom while their own families were incarcerated behind barbed wire machine guns back home.
Yeah.
And so many of them died for that. But now it's a joke. And but what did that is that you bred an entire generation or two of insecurities. Everyone's insecure. That's like me. I'm not really insecure. I hope I'm not. Because so people say things about me, or they say that, whatever.
I don't care. I don't care.
I'll break bread with people on the left. I'll break bread with people on the right. I have friends that are atheists. I have friends that are communists. Well, I don't know. I hate the communists.
I have formal communist friends. I have friends in Antifa. I've got them all over the place. And I'm just saying, it doesn't excuse no one's behavior is excused. My behavior is not excused. Okay. Right. So I'm just because I'm friends with someone doesn't excuse anything. And neither does their friendship with me excuse me. But it just means like it used to be that you valued friendship, that you held it up there with your politics, or you used to value comics, that you held it up there with your politics. Right. And now it's politics are getting is a little too present.
Yes,
it's a little too out there.
Yeah, there's no accountability. There's anonymity. Say that word for me, Blevins.
Anonymity.
Anonymity. And they feel empowered.
Yeah, you used to have to stand by your word. You'd own your word. You'd own not just your name, but it was your family's name.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now people have like, oh, I have no name. I'm you know what I mean? I'm an avatar now.
Well, that's why we got to be positive. And Doug, and you're doing like, you look at Howard Stern, people love Howard Stern. I have a lot of my friends that are super right guys, former, retired cops or the firemen, financial guys, whatever. And they love Howard Stern, it's fun.
He was always having the most fun in the room.
Have fun, right?
And we love that.
Right. And you're doing that.
And so was Rush Limbaugh, having the most fun in the room.
Yep.
You and I, you go to Comic-Con with Blevins, most fun in the room. I just want to have a ball. Mm-hmm. And they're not even worth fighting. I don't even fight SJWs. It's not that you can't, it's like trying to nail Jello to the wall. Yeah. You're not gonna land a punch on an SJW. They barely even exist. They're like a squish ball.
Exactly.
And in the meanwhile, you're gonna spend all your time fighting these guys instead of me drawing or making videos or making music, whatever the real calling.
Yeah. And you just wonder how many of these, bomb throwers and stuff, that's it on Twitter, the ones that are negative, the ones that because they can't create anything good or anything lasting that people like, so they have to attack and they have to bring that negativity towards people that do create. How many likes would they get if for every like it costs you $1? The person giving that like, they'd all have a hell of a lot less likes because they don't buy comics.
That's right.
They're not going to the movies. They're not paying this sort of thing. And they're just angry. And it's awful. It really is. And what a colossal waste of time.
But at the same time, I actually first heard this. It might've been from Richard C. Meyer like 2 years ago. He thought like, all this hatred's going to blow up and it's going to get really unpopular. I never thought that, but I understood where he was coming from. In a way, all of the anger and all the stuff of everyone doing their likes and their, their fake comments on everyone's videos and stuff, you know what, go play and go have your fun, because I'm not going to waste my time. It's like the only time I'll ever waste my time is if I'm going to crack a joke about you, but you'll never, ever, ever, ever stop me. And there's people that tried to attack my comic career even recently. My books are delivering right now, and my backers are saying, I feel like I ripped you off. And I go, yeah. What you heard about me from nearly everyone that didn't tell you that I was going to send you a great book is a liar. And now you have hard proof in your hand. Are you going to believe the proof in your hand, or are you going to believe what you've been told? Because my respect for you, my love for you, my moral contract with you and your money is what you're holding in your hand. Happy or sad? How do you like the art? How do you like the writing? How do you like the print job? How do you like how much money I spent on your box and your shipping? Yeah. And I just think I put on a great show for people. And I really don't care if everyone in the whole world says, you're wrong, Doug. I go, no, actually, I know I got this down. I actually know what I'm doing. Now you do. Yeah, I'm going to send you something great. That's why I can ask you for money. And I know I'm going to deliver you something great. This is for not only for my good, but it's for your good too. I honestly feel bad for people that listen to lies and don't come into my campaigns, but I got nothing for them. If you're that kind of a person that you're going to believe this crap about me, then go buy someone else's, go have fun.
Well, Doug, it's good to have an adult conversation with someone that we're having
with a near adult.
So yeah. Well, you're the adult, I guess. But not everything that everyone agrees with everyone on everything. I don't. Oh yeah. God knows I don't agree with Blevins on everything. I don't agree with you on everything. But there's a lot that I do, and I love you guys, and
we have too much fun. It's just goofing.
Life's too short not to.
It's goofing around. What is someone?
Something you'll fall for anything,
Yeah. When you see things in tragedy and stuff like that in your life, you realize what's really important. And the negativity and the doubters and the haters, they're not important. Yeah. They're not.
And there's a lot of it everywhere, guys. It's just it's becoming kind of our cultural waters that we're stewing in. My great fear is that I'm too much of a reflection of my time. I want to be a reflection of a time like 300 years ago, 400 years ago. I don't want to be just that I only repeated what opening weekend told me to repeat, or I only repeated what I read on Twitter and YouTube. It's like we have to transcend our time, or we're not even being good participants in our world,
Well, now speaking of contributing, like you had mentioned earlier, what's next for Doug TenNapel? Art-wise, comic book wise, what are we working on? I know you said you had the art table there and you got to get to it, but when are we going to get to it, and what's it going to be?
It's financially, it's very hard to do the comics because the YouTube channel's blowing up so big. It's paying me, 3 to 4 times what comics did. Sure. So if I look at my 8-hour day, that's time I spend away from my family. I have a moral contract with them. How much money am I making versus how much time I'm spending away from them? But I am trying to write Bigfoot Bill 3 on the side. And it's too difficult of a story right now. I have about 120 pages of notes over on the coffee table on my lounge over there that I sit down and just stare at and slobber. It's got the greatest moments I've ever written. So I'm saying it's mind blowing. And I think it's really good. Just, now you got to sit down and actually craft the writing. Well, that's all the work.
Yep.
Re-edits and the redo and make. And so it's one of those projects that could really take a long time. So I'm trying to get that campaign out. I'm hoping by the end of the year where I launch a campaign. Wow. So it's taking so long. Normally I'd be launching a campaign right now. Right. Bigfoot Bill, Earthworm Jim 2 delivers. The next campaign launches because everyone's happy with their books. And I go, oh, you like that book? Well, here's a new campaign. It should be open right now if I'm doing marketing right.
Yeah.
So it's going to take so long. I think it's always going to be at least 3 months of writing and then at least 6 months of drawing.
Yeah.
And then, and so that pushes me into Christmas. There's no way I can, I'm not going to ever deliver in December ever again, because that's just stupid.
It ruined your Christmas for everyone. Yeah.
So it's already next year. We're looking at 2022.
Yeah.
And then, and so here's my big scam, Billy. I've got, 15 books in my back library that most people haven't read, because there's only one 5,000 book print run done by Image. So I'm going to release one of my old books in the new hardbound format. It'll be over 250 pages.
Excellent.
And I'll roll it at that I could launch next month. So, and I could deliver probably by sometime in the fall, by August, September.
That sounds like a plan.
So I'm hoping to do a hardbound black and white. And then I figure if I raise enough money, I can always break out a second color edition next year.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's the best. And frankly, one of these stories is the best thing I've ever written. In my opinion, it's my favorite all-time book that hardly anyone has read. So I think a brand new audience will find it really cool. And I can just run a campaign without doing, or I would do 16 new pages of art for it and re-release it. So that's, and then I also have a animated short that's a movie trailer for that book that I'm looking to get funded. I have some financial backers about funding a movie. I just go, look, let me finish the trailer first. So we're animating that in color with some guys. And then I've also got an Exile book I want to write that is my universal theory of everything, religion and politics book. And that's really for the In Exile audience to try crowdfunding, because they're not going to buy a comic. They will buy a political.
Sure. Sure.
And then I've got another animated short that was fully funded already that I'm just now recording voices on. I've got Vic Mignogna's on it, and Andy Dick is on it, and
nice.
Antonio Bryce is. So I've got some friends on it, and it is a baller of a messed up short that we're doing kind of a weird brand new format of half crowdfunding, half Netflix kind of thing. So I got a lot of stuff in the air. You know me, Billy. I'm just creating stuff. But the number one thing I want to do is get back to doing Bigfoot Bill at that table, because I'm grinding out videos right now, 8 hours a day, and I can do that. But that's not what I've spent my whole life.
That's a full-time job.
I've spent my whole life sitting at that art table grinding. It is a lot easier to spend 8 hours at an art table drawing than it is spending 8 hours sitting here doing videos.
It's probably a lot more enjoyable, but there also is that passion and that wit that you take from your art and your creativity into your videos.
It's when someone drops a 450,000 person audience in your lap, you don't just walk by.
No, you cannot. You cannot. You have to continue.
I don't know how long it'll last. I'm not saying I'm going to do it forever, but
your family, though, you have an obligation to family.
It really is. If comics were bigger and more stable, it's so funny because my fallback job is comics. I go, well, if this YouTube thing falls apart,
right?
I'm going to go do an indie comic, know?
Well, Doug, we're over an hour now, and I just want to. We usually go a half hour with these, but it's been so long, and I just want to thank you for always coming on to our show, always having us on your show. That you've done. You've always been a big supporter of the POPXP. You had Dr. Blevins over your house.
Always.
Not the house yet.
We had fun.
I got an invite.
You can always come over. Always come over.
I was going to be in that area not too long ago, and I was going to call, and I was like, man, he's so busy. I don't want to mess.
I'm busy. I'm always busy, but at the same time, my schedule's flexible. So always come over. And when this goes up on the air, send me the link, and I'll throw it out to my subscribers, and let's see how many people show up to watch it. Any chance you have a tentative title for Bigfoot Bill 3 that we could get exclusive on? It's tentatively called Born Twice. Born Twice? Nice. Tentatively called Born Twice. He's going to Hades in this one. You heard it here first. Yeah. Well, everybody out there, if you guys would like, you got Doug TenNapel in Exile. It's on YouTube. Is it just Google search Doug TenNapel in Exile? It'll come up. And we'll put the link in the description as well. And Doug, I know I got to tell you, this was great talking to you. It's been too long, my friend. And I miss you guys. Like I said, you're always welcome on our tiny little channel. We do this for fun. I love your show. It's honest. It's good.
Yeah, it's a great way. We try to keep positive. As you've told me, we've had these phone conversations.
Always.
And I think we do. And, me, Blevins, and Niall, and Frank.
I think you guys are doing great work. I think it's a professional show.
It's a little escape for us, actually.
It's a sanctuary.
It's definitely an escape for me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your politics going,
Oh my
buddy?
God, dude, I'm getting wrecked.
State board, we're gonna get you.
That's another show. That's a show. We should have the politics show.
It's wrecked, but I'm gonna end up winning, Doug. I'm telling you, I'm gonna end up winning in the end.
Be Batman. Be that good guy. So, but right now we will be coming back live, the POPXP, because we are in exile, Doug. I don't know if you saw that. We got a strike.
How did you get that?
Well, I think we showed
Wonder Woman 84.
bits of the Wonder Woman 84 trailer, which everyone was doing, and we critiqued the film.
And they put you in jail for that?
It was absolutely fair use. 1,000% fair use. And they hit us and then doubled down. It was horrible.
So you questioned it and they still confirmed it. That's garbage.
They confirmed it and hit it for 90 days.
And Doug, we've done over 300 shows, and I'd say 90% of those shows are to talk to other creators about their projects.
Yeah.
We don't, we're not even here espousing our own stuff, pushing our own things. We want to hear other people's creativity. We want to share your projects, give them a platform to share their art, what they're working on.
But since we're here, is not Wonder Woman 84 the hottest piece of garbage you've ever seen in your life? Dude, our whole family rented it, and I was just going, wow.
Did you get a chance to watch the Snyder Cut yet of Justice League?
No, I did not.
Man, great.
Oh, good.
Absolutely great.
Good.
I mean,
that guy knows how to direct, knows how to edit. He knows how to pace.
The whole story is different. Seeing the scenes in different context, scenes that were added, scenes that were subtracted. I mean, dude, it's just going to blow you away.
I still hate almost all of DC on big screen. I just hate it with a passion, man. Absolutely.
I'm just hoping that when I do watch it, if I watch it, that I can see it, because the first Justice League, the Joss Whedon one, was like this.
Yeah.
It was just black. Yeah. And I know that all the DC films are dark, but they were.
Yeah.
I'm like,
this is definitely not like that. It's not
things in the background. It looked very muddy. The palette was muddy, I feel.
Hot garbage. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they don't know what they're doing.
Well, thank you.
All right, my brothers.
You want to give a little pitch about Doug TenNapel in Exile?
Well, I do a bunch of little political videos a day on stuff, just a few important news items. It's harmless to subscribe. It is harmless to ring that bell. And you might even get a little laugh along the way. How's that?
I think that's perfect. And Doug, you, since doing doing 8 shows a day or 4 shows a day, you don't anymore. Very few ums. Because I thought we were going to have to edit it. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. I have to go pick William up. He's coming in the train in 15 minutes from school. He's coming in for the weekend. And Doug, thanks again. Anytime you want to come on, you're always welcome. And we always appreciate you helping us out. Always appreciate you having us.
I'll throw the link around, dude. I'll get you some views.
You got it, my friend. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Have a great night. And Blevins, you're on tomorrow, right? With the Week in Pop XP. What is it?
Yeah, we can pop, man. We got a bunch of stuff. Like, there's a lot of cool things coming down the pipe, man. Falcon Winter Soldiers tonight at midnight. Ooh. Hey, man, got a lot to talk about tomorrow in the Nerdiverse.
Excellent. Then tomorrow I will be on the Professionals with Graham Nolan, Andy Smith, Aaron Lepresti, Art T. Bear.
I love Aaron Lepresti.
Yeah, and Dan Fraga, and we will
Andy Smith.
Doug and Andy Smith. We will be day drinking, Doug.
Oh.
Day drinking. And
my kind of show. My kind of show.
At 2 p.m. Eastern. I think it's 1 o'clock or 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll be promoting it. And the subject will be what if. So that's going to be fun. And watch us get sauce.
That sounds like a great bro time, man.
It's going to be great, bro.
That sounds great.
All right, everybody, have a good time. Doug, I don't know if how free you are. I know, crazy, but I think you would be a fantastic addition to the professional.
I agree.
Time.
You never know. Send me an invite. Send me a link, and
absolutely. It's. I'm going to talk to Graham Nolan tomorrow. It's his show.
He finally got monetized, so
we spin it. We actually, Doug, what we do is we all circulate. So this week's Graham's, next week might be Andy Smith's, the week after that's Archie.
Awesome.
And
it's everyone gets wasted on their channel.
Yeah. At least tomorrow we will.
I just like watching drunk guys.
Remember, peace, love, comics, and first and foremost, we're all in this together.
That's right.
We are.
So salute, cheers and salutations, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Doug.
God bless you all.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on POPXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the POPXP and over on Instagram at the POPXP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on POPXP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the POPXP and over on Instagram at the POPXP. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you soon.